Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thanks to Rick Nolan for his leadership and for continuing what has come to be expected out of Minnesota, especially out of the 8th District, his transportation leadership with two chairmen and now Rick's voice there. It's critical, and an understanding, I think, coming from greater Minnesota, understanding that the investments that were made that connected us together, that allowed our economies to grow together with the Twin Cities was smart and economically wise. So I'm grateful for that. Margaret and the Transportation Alliance and Move Minnesota, you've been with us for a century of advocating for policy, a century advocating for policy to make Minnesota not just another cold agrarian state, but to make it a dynamic leader in businesses across the spectrum, from healthcare at the Mayo Clinic with Tina Liebling leading the charge, to high-tech industries, to an agriculture industry that is second to none. And so I am grateful to that. And my colleagues here in Congress, but having Charlie Zelli here and having watched this, sometimes a lot of this is theoretical for folks and the politicians get to debate it. Some people actually have to deliver. And I said, watching Commissioner Zelli and watching the vision that was given by Governor Dayton in the legislature, it's one that folks believe in, and they don't believe in it from a political perspective. They believe in it like Greater Mankato Growth, one of the most dynamic growing cities we've seen in America, that had some smart investments, things like County Road 12, an exit off of Highway 14, that when it was built, they were calling it a bridge to nowhere. Now that is where the new Walmart distribution center is, FedEx, a Mills Fleet Farm.
That's good. We want to keep the mills in the
But and it was an understanding amongst the industry down here today, and I'm proud of Mankato Growth for their advocacy of understanding the silliness of dividing the public-private partnerships, that we're in this together. And more importantly, as I said, I was here with Tina Liebling, who has been a champion and teaches me much about what the dynamic area of Rochester and the growth of a destination medical community understands. Frank Hornstein's here too, and the silliness of trying to divide our constituents when we're in this together versus urban transit versus rural highways. It is simply ignoring the issue that this nation needs to invest in infrastructure because it's the right thing to do for growth. They need to invest in infrastructure because of the safety refinements that have come around in recent years. They need to be put into place. We also understand that even if you're in this for a sheer dollars and cents, bottom line on this is to not build on these roads costs us about $105 billion in idling tax per year. That's coming from UPS and FedEx and others. And if people wonder, yes, it's expensive to do township bridges, deficient bridges, and I hear people say, well, that bridge only serves about 5 people out there. A lot of times that's 5 family farms that fill about 20,000 people per farm in what they feed. And this idea that we're in this together, so investing in a township bridge down in Martin County makes a big impact on how we move food. So we're up here today, first of all, to thank the leadership, to echo what we're hearing from our constituents is that investing in transportation is an area we agree on. And there aren't a lot, but that is one. And that long-term, sustainable, predictable, because when I hear from businesses all the time, the thing that they tell me that most irritates them about Washington is a lack of predictability. So here we set 20 days. As Rick said, 6 working days. Half of those will be with congressional baseball games or whatever else goes on. And this issue the actuarial numbers on the trust fund have been out there for decades. We knew this was coming. We had a time to do it. Rick said they kicked the can down the road. Yeah, the proverbial broken road that it went down. And we knew this was coming. And when someone asked, do you have optimism on this? I tend to be a very optimistic person. As I always say, I supervised the lunchroom for 20 years. You have to be an optimist in that job. But on this one, no, because Rick summed it up. And while it may seem like an arcane, and this is a building to talk about this, it's not insider baseball. The fact of the matter is we're not even being allowed to debate it, and we have huge needs that need to be addressed, that can be done in a bipartisan manner, that can create growth, especially in the private sector, and make our highways safer. That's not asking that much. And we've got the leaders here to do that. We've got a plan on the table. And again, as the Governor and Commissioner Zelli have been saying is, then give us a plan that finishes Highway 14 in the time frame that this plan does. And my constituents are saying, unless you can do that, we want this plan, because it gets it done. So I'm up here to say to all of those representatives, especially in the 1st District, you've got a plan. negotiate for that plan, get this thing done, and that my pledge to you, as you heard Congressman Nolan, you're going to hear Representative Ellison say, I will support the plan that gets put forward that invests the right way with that long-term, predictable, sustainable federal highway program. Let's just get it to the floor so that we can do something about it. So I thank you all for being here, and Mr. Ellison.
Yeah, thank you, Tim.